Hello, everybody, and welcome to our episode 9 of Anne of Green Gables. Episode 9 is called A Solemn Vow, and it's an adaptation of chapter 12 of the book, A Solemn Vow and Promise.
Oh,
This time we're diverging from the source material.
That was too long for the title card.
No, my guess is they thought The Solemn Vow and Promise was a bit too long of a title. I don't know what to tell you. Whatever. It's the same chapter still, whatever. Just extra words. That's about it. All right, everybody. This is a very important turning point in the story because this is where Anne meets her best friend for life, Diana Barry. So, and yes, this is all. We're also going to finally get to that point that me and Joe have been hyping up. So, stay tuned, everybody. Stay tuned, everybody. So, 3, 2, 1, click.
It's also interesting, though, Pedro, because usually anime titles in Japan, anime episode titles in Japan, tend to be extremely long. Over-flavored titles like fight at the moon under the moonlight, protagonist X versus villain Y.
That's the thing. World. Oh, that's the thing too. The Japanese titles for the episodes don't have the book chapter titles. They actually have their own typical Japanese anime titles. It's the English dub or the translation team that decided to change the episode names to the names of the chapters.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me check. There is a particular anime that also had a long title. Oh yeah, it's still there. Actually, it's translated pretty much the same. It's called Giant Robo: The Day the Earth Stood Still, which in itself, again, it's a long title on its own.
Hmm.
All right. So today is the day where Anne finally makes her first friend in Avenlea.
What could possibly go wrong?
That's the thing, Jovah. Surprisingly, nothing goes wrong. Because remember, we're on full happy mode.
I'm still waiting on my alien invasion.
Hey, seeing something like Higurashi, you know stuff can go from happy-go-lucky to 11.
That doesn't really involve aliens, Jovah.
Well, hey. That's not what Rena said in Sumeru. I can't pronounce that chapter.
One of the chapters of Jovah.
I've got to be imagining. Could you imagine if the finale of the series had an alien invasion?
But it is a good comparison because Higurashi is also a series that, it is when it's quiet normally. Very good slice of life, like I kept mentioning. But to balance things out, it has a very good mystery going on.
That would be that would be incredibly silly. That would be like if we had an Asterix story with aliens. Oh wait.
I mean, okay, if I'm to be honest, I could see Asterix pulling off the alien thing, but
I can assure you, Jovah, it's not what you think. Whatever you're thinking, that's not what The Falling Skies does. The Falling Skies is one of the worst comics I've ever seen in my life. And not in the sense that it's offensive or insulting, like, say, Holy Terror. It's just one of the worst written.
That bad, huh?
It's just terrible.
Okay, so here's the thing, though. A bad Asterix story tends to baffle me, because Asterix is one of those properties that, okay, I may not be a writer, but I feel like that should be one of the easier things to get.
I'll tell you another time, Jovah, because it requires a lot of explanation.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose so.
But it's okay. But it's... So sorry, go ahead.
The thing with Asterix is, I feel like, as long as you keep the tone proper, it comedic enough, and also maintain to remember continuity when it does apply, mind you, you should be able to make a good Asterix concept here or there, which is why, again, the bad Asterix properties always baffle me when we do see them.
So sure,
there are some that do exist.
So sure, a question, since I didn't bother asking you the last time. What do you think of Anne's dresses? Since we already know what both Morella and Anne think about them, I wanted to ask your opinion.
I'm like the last person to ask. They're cute, I guess.
Oh, so they don't think they're plain like Anne does?
I mean, they are a bit plain, but I've seen far worse.
Okay.
Do you have any preferences?
Honestly, I prefer these
I don't
over.
really wear dresses.
Honestly, I prefer this to whatever it was Jodie was wearing in the party chapter of Beyond Two Souls.
Oh, the party chapter. Okay.
That sums up every work planet.
Even she wants to get this shit done.
Here lies Anne. She couldn't take the fact that the girl didn't want to be her friend. My God, it sounds like we're trying to gear up towards dating.
No, Jovah, that would be if this was N with an E.
Wait, they're actually...
Oh, I get it. Since Netflix and all, we probably inserted some subtext.
Well, okay, hold on. I'll explain in a moment.
Sure. It's not the place here now, anyway.
Interesting. First world problems,
Whatever.
child.
All right. Well, okay. If you ask me about her feminist views, Joe, I could tell you stuff. But when it comes to her LGBT-related views, I don't know because I don't. As far as I'm aware, Lucy Montgomery has never expressed anything, either by herself or in her work, about how she feels about that matter.
Still alive?
No. When she was alive,
Early
I mean when she was no. I mean when she was still alive. That's what I mean.
Yeah. Well, because you spoke in the
She's
present
never.
tense, though, so-
How she was a very like I said, she was a very forward-thinking woman. So it wouldn't surprise me if she had surprisingly forward-thinking views about it. I cannot say it for certain though, because as far as I'm aware, she has never actually expressed herself on the matter. However, I can tell. I can tell you that all of the characters in her books are straight. But I don't. That's not a confirmation nor a denial, of course. But that's all I can say on the matter.
Well, let me guess. Anne marries and has kids at some point in the book series, doesn't she?
Yes, she does.
I think Pedro did mention.
Yes, she does. However, there's some new characters that were introduced in N with an E that are there for LGBT representation. Yes.
Okay, so do they make it that Anne's in love with a girl or something in Anne with an E?
No. They keep the canonical couple.
I mean, then fine enough.
Sure. Well, again, I also don't know the context.
Sure.
Same, yeah.
Sure, yeah, exactly. I actually love this interaction right here.
Okay, Drax, we get it.
Sweet, blissful child.
So much so that we put a
Put
frame
a
over
border
her.
around her face. Oh, wait.
Yeah, I don't get the whole
Hello.
border thing.
I already explained to you, Jovah. Remember, it's supposed to have her name in there, but since we're watching the Blu-ray rips, it's left no name so that the subtitle people can put the name there
It's
themselves.
like Jovah in Subspace Emissary, like when the caption appears but without the actual text.
Just so that we can do it for multi-language purposes, basically. It's a common thing in games and
Okay, I get that, but like you said, this is the original Japanese dub, and there's still not even any text that appears there. So
that's because the Japanese Blu-rays have their own subtitles with the names. However, the Japanese Blu-ray rips that I'm using here are just straight with no subtitles from the Blu-ray itself. And
in a sense, Jovah, they're not hard-coded.
Yep.
That's kind of a huge oversight.
Oh, it's surprisingly more common than you think.
What they did, like I said, Jovah, the plan was for them to have the original negatives retain no text there so that people can put subtitles as much as they need in whatever language they need. When you watch this on TV, there's the text is there. It's just that the original negatives didn't put any text on the actual animation itself, because they were thinking ahead. So that, let's leave it with no text so that the subtitle people from other countries can put whatever text they need to put, basically. Good job, Takahata. Awkward silence.
She doesn't talk much.
Funny, I thought my mummy said she's a chatterbox.
Will someone
He's the
please say
liar.
something?
I just met
And you're kind of skipping away all the procedures and stuff.
Is that the same voice actress who voices Zan?
Again, I don't know, Jovah. Sorry.
It sounds similar.
Probably.
Oh god, it's like the voice actress for Carmelita Fox and Constable Neeling's like too.
We're on a tight budget here, sadly.
Okay, again, I'm not an expert on these, but they do sound fairly different for me.
Seriously, when she speaks like that, it sounds like Anne, but in a different tone, I think.
I get the feeling they had a limited number of voice actors that they could afford. So yeah, we're gonna swear friendship forever.
Oh boy, I wonder if they'll be as close friends as Rika and Sadako, eh, Tio?
All right, Jovah, I'm just going to allow you to do your thing. The stage is yours.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Right after this line.
Hey, this reminds me of Time and Eternity, where the two girls promised to be friends forever, but that trapped them into a time loop.
There you go, Jovah, go ahead.
This song...
Okay, do you want to explain, Jovah, or should I?
Hold on, I'm listening. I want to see if that last lyric is clearer this time. It still is hard to decipher. Basically, folks...
She said I'm no longer alone at the end.
I think so. Maybe, who knows?
Not maybe, it sounded pretty clear to me.
Go ahead, Jovah.
Basically, yeah. Pedro came to me for help with deciphering these lyrics because they weren't as clear, to help out with the subbing for the Portuguese dub.
Basically, everybody, right now there's a friend of mine making a Brazilian fan dub of this. Brazil never got a dub of this. And I've been helping her with translation.
Now that I know the context, admittedly, the lyrics are a lot better to get, but man, when I first listened to this, I see what Pedro meant, though. Now, granted, it didn't take me, forever, but man, there were some lines in those lyrics that were just impossible to get until I listened to them for, I kid you not, hours. Until then, I pretty much have the entirety of the song memorized now because I had to decipher those lyrics.
I thought it was going to be like...
sung all too clearly.
Yeah, when they were singing earlier, it was going to be like, yeah, they're so connected, they can hear each other sing in their mind. Something like that.
I mean, it's clearly not that weird friendship promise that some characters do in My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. So
remember, they're 11. Like, they have very romantic views on the world, and it's much easier to make friends when you're on that age.
Sure, it'd be a shame if they grew old and grew apart from each other.
To them.
Well, Teo, that tends to happen sometimes.
No, but like, is that a thing that happens in the later parts of the books?
Well, that would be spoiling now, wouldn't it?
Well, I mean, wait, have you read the whole book series?
No, but let's just say, Jovah, your answer will be you will get your answer in this very first book anyway, so you can wait for that.
Oh dear.
Remember, this entire book covers 5 years of Anne's life.
I'll admit, I would be kind of curious to see the whole thing, but from what I know, there's not really any adaptation that covers the series from beginning to end.
Unfortunately, no. It's 8 books, and remember, these, as you can see, these books are very methodically paced, which means they involve a shit ton of dialogue, a shit ton of
not just
pace.
that, it's clearly not enough, not probably an easy material to enough for, say, a Hollywood style saga.
That's one of the big reasons why I was originally hyped for Anne with an E. Thank you, a TV series. That's the best format to adapt these books into. Not so much more than a movie, because that will allow the writers. Again, it's the same thing what I've always said, that that's why the Ace Attorney anime works a lot better than the Ace Attorney movie, because they have a lot more time to include all the nifty little character development that the movie skipped over.
Although I will say this, season 2 of the anime is way better than season 1.
Oh, it is. It is.
Yeah, season 1 unfortunately has a lot of caveats to the point where I'd say that the movie is still a much better watching experience than the anime in regards to its adaptation style.
Oh, and by the way, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Yes, for the record, that was actual. Nowadays, people know it as Alice in Wonderland, but in older times, it actually had different titles. So that's kind of interesting. I love that earlier interaction, though, where apparently Diana was reading a book about a woman who has 5 lovers. And Anne's like, well, wait, 5 all at once? One will be enough for me.
And you'll know when you're older.
But I am a main character. What am I talking about?
This is clearly not a series that's ripe for meta commentary.
No.
Out of Green Gables goes better.
Unless Deadpool decides to invade it,
Honestly,
because there was a comic line where Deadpool went in the past and killed book authors, so who knows?
Honestly, Anne does seem like that kind of character who probably could go meta if she willed it.
Fun fact, this scene in her room, this is an addition by Takahata.
Huh.
New additions ruined forever.
That's the thing,
You
Dwibs.
really are deviating.
That's the thing, Dwibs. When Takahata deviates, he's completely unlike Kevin Sullivan or Maura Beckett. Like
Not just that, Dwibs. It's also the fact that, as far as I know so far, again, it's things that are added on top of a near flawless, already present, adaptation. So it's basically just the icing on the cake. It's not an ingredient that's replacing another.
No, not just that. Like that's the thing too. Remember, like when you guys are watching this, I have to be the one to tell you guys that this scene is not in the book, because it's so hard to even tell, because everything works so perfectly well together.
I mean, okay, I guess to be fair, when you go to anyone who has not read the original source material or whatnot, it usually can sort of be hard to tell by
I guess, yeah.
of it.
Well, I will tell you this, Jovah. There have been things... Sorry, go ahead.
That said, though, you are right, though, that the scenes do all gel well together.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can tell Jovah that there have been times when I'm watching an adaptation without knowing the source material, and my instinct started kicking in and telling me, there's something off here.
I can agree with that. Like, there are definitely some times in adaptations where a scene can feel so out of place where you can't help but wonder, wait, was this in the original?
Yeah.
Halfway there.
Well, we talked about it. We talked over it, but here's the interesting thing. In the same way that Anne loves to playing outside, Diana's the opposite. She's a bit more indoors. She loves reading, except the mom is concerned that she's not playing outside enough, because she just stands on her house reading all the time. So
if this were in modern times, Diane would be the gamer girl of the two. Got it.
Pretty much,
yeah.
Yay.
is my best friend.
Forever and ever, till death do us part. For richer and for poorer.
Or the next episode do us part.
That's the thing. Again, keeping in true with the book, the next episode will entirely be dedicated to them just hanging out together. So we're going to.
And this one wasn't.
No, that's the thing, Jovah. The book spends even further time, and this anime follows suit exactly. We have exactly 2 book chapters dedicated to their friendship, and by extension 2 episodes of this series. Yes,
which would make a friend breakup even all the more heartbreaking.
Well, that's kind of the whole how you write a story. You build up, and then you get a payoff, whether sad or happy.
If you're a terrible Hollywood writer, you have a breakup at the second that means absolutely nothing.
Again, it's the primary reason why I keep staunchly defending.
Wait, Ann, what are you doing walking barefoot?
I keep defending what?
Well, to be fair, Jovah, it's a farm. I guess it's not that big a deal.
Splinters in the fucking floor.
Well, and then I guess. Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. Marilla's a good guardian, but hey, she's not flawless. I guess.
The cat seems to be fine with it.
What were you gonna say, Pedro?
That's why I keep staunchly defending that when you adapt these books into something, it has to be a TV show.
Oh my god, Splinters girl, there you could definitely risk Splinters there, not to mention all the feces on the floor, probably.
Maybe stuff like Artemis Fowl would have been better if they were TV shows or something.
Oh, I've already asked Jovah. I already asked Jovah if he would have liked the World Masterpiece Theater take on Artemis Fowl. So.
Yeah, I feel like they could have definitely have done it justice.
Her to end.
Also, now I get what Pearl was referring to in Ace Attorney 2 with that whole children's masterpiece theater thing.
Mm-hmm, that was a reference to the World Masterpiece Theater, yes. Well, remember, Jovah, both Takahata and Hino grew up when this series was going on, so...
Wait. But Hino wasn't involved with Ace Attorney 2.
Oh, well, I know, but you know what I mean, like, because I referenced how I feel like he was inspired by this too, you know. I mentioned this in episode 4, so... They grew up during the golden, what I consider to be the golden age of anime, this period, you know. So it's not surprising at all.
When you consider it the golden age of anime, was it because of the writing or the animation?
Well, when it comes to animation, that's a whole nother set altogether because it also varies on people's preferences. When it comes to telling good stories in anime, for me, that would be the 1970s, 1980s, yes.
Fair enough.
With a little bit of the 90s, per se, why not? Because the 90s also had a lot of good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Sure you will.
Sure you will.
No, actually, that's the thing, Jovah. She will, actually.
That is surprisingly restrained of her.
Not just...
like she was saying earlier, Anne really chatters a lot. She probably chatters so much she'll probably forget to have it.
It's also because she wants to give half to Diana.
It feels like she's trying to work her way into my cold, icy heart.
I love what it says now.
Soon. Also, it's a neat way to also mention the passage of time, because if it was like strictly binging the episode, you think that only a couple of days have passed, but no, actual weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway.
The books are close to the camp.
Well, actually, Dwebs, how else do you expect her to have light for reading? Remember, this is we don't.
I'm either putting the book so close
Thomas
to it.
Edison had not done anything until that point.
Yeah, so we have to resort to this, Dwebs. Sorry. But yeah, no, just to finish my point. No, that's the primary reason, Dwebs, why I still defend that this series should be a... Oh, there you go. Preview. Exactly.
Next time,
don't go away.
See, Shiroi? It's all jolly happiness now. See? I told you we'd get to that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are you happy now?
I mean, we got over this a few episodes ago, but yes, I'm still happy.
Yes. Now cherish it, because it won't last forever, just like in real life.
Well, you said, like, what, episode 17 or something?
18.
There we go.
Well, like I said, Shiroi, it wouldn't be a very accurate portrayal of life if it was only happy times, now would it?
No.
Exactly. But yeah, one thing I would like to mention that I haven't mentioned yet. Usually anime next episode previews are done after the credits rather than before, like this one does. And I really like how this one does that. It adds combined with the narration. And remember, the narrator even narrates what's going to happen. It helps to give, because this is a book, it helps give the anime its own storytelling feel, like you're listening, your warm grandpa telling the story to you, and then at the end of the chapter he closes the book. Okay, and that's it. Tomorrow we'll tell the chapter about this. So more about that tomorrow.
Come on, Jovah, sorry.
I do like how, in a lot of ways, it also does feel like, they're a little legit continuing the episodes, because, they still speak in basically the same thing. It's not a blatant preview. Like, the first times I saw it, it legit did feel like an extension of the story going on. Like, you only really figured out it's a preview when they say, but that's for next time, essentially. It does feel very genuine, and in a way, it feels like it could be counted as part of the episode itself.
It's also the thing. A lot of anime still do this kind of thing of having the preview before the credits, and the traditional Japanese formula is having one of the main characters talking about that, or two talking with each other and say, "Oh, this crazy thing is gonna happen," and we conclude with next time name of the anime, say Jikai, next. Name of the anime and the name of the episode. So I get the idea that it was like that for Japanese dub, and decided to adapt it in a more elegant way for the English dub.
Mm-hmm. Let me quickly finish my point real quickly now. Yes, that's the primary reason why I really want this to be adapted into TV shows, not movies, because movies would have to be so fundamentally long to really properly... A TV show is just much better. Again, just like with Ace Attorney. It fits a TV show much better than it does a movie. It's just a better format to use. It allows the writers to just allow the story to breathe the same way it does in the book, which is what Takahata does here. And another thing, to answer to finish my question about Anne of Green Gables from 1985, to give you guys an idea, in the 1985 adaptation, remember episode 4? The one that we praised so much because of the great conversation between Morrill and Anne, where we learn Anne's history. Mm-hmm. The 1985 movie pretty much skims through that chapter, basically. And don't get me wrong. I get that they have to cut stuff because it's 3 hours movies for a 50 chapter book. Of course, you have to cut some stuff. I get that. It's just that I can't. It's just that, like, it really harms the pacing that Lucy envisioned when she wrote the book. It really harms it.
I think I get what you mean. It's a similar thing to also Ralph Bakshi's animated version, Lord of the Rings.
Go ahead, Jovah.
I guess you need to see it to get the context. Because, maybe in the context of that movie itself, it works. I can get how it may feel like it may fail in comparison to something like the anime, which has all the time in the world to work with it. But if it was them working with what they had to do time-wise, then maybe it makes sense in that context.
Sure. I want to emphasize this. I'm not trying to hate on Kevin Solomon's original movie, because that movie was the best adaptation we had gotten up until that point. It's fine. It's perfectly fine, and especially for its time, considering for people who didn't know the anime, it was it's no wonder it was people's most well-liked adaptation. I have no issues with that. It's just that it becomes very hard for me as a fan of the source material to really see it like that, because I just missed. Okay, maybe you guys know, because you guys are much more familiar with. Okay, Dwebs and Shiroi, would you guys say that? Okay, I know that you haven't read the book of Gables, but trust me, by watching this anime, you're pretty much experiencing the book as intended. You're fine. Would you say that the Harry Potter, unlike this book, the Harry Potter books are much easier to adapt into films, are much more appropriate to adapt into a film than a book by J.K. Rowling is much easier to adapt into a movie than a book by Lucy Maud Montgomery. Would you agree with that? Is that how you think?
I think it could work either way.
Because I haven't read the book, so I don't know. So I don't know how the pacing of the book works, how the writing works. So I don't know.
Well, as you may remember from our commentaries, we mainly agreed that the movies were good adaptations, but they could arguably have been done even better as series. That said, they can work either way. Again, now I haven't seen the other and stuff, but I am under the belief that, if there are at least enough here and there, they could potentially make a movie out of Anne of the Green Gables. What I do agree with is that this anime probably has it, the best way possible, because it can literally dedicate a whole episode to apparently each
a book chapter. Yeah, we're literally going through chapter by chapter, basically.
That doesn't mean that that doesn't mean that a movie would be impossible, but I can see why you might prefer it that way. Granted, maybe there are some bouts where you might think that, this could have easily been cut down or something. But like I said, context is definitely.
Oh, sure. No, sure. Definitely. I'm just saying what I think. It's just one of those cases where, for the adaptation, it's just one of those cases where it really feels to me, it's just like one of those cases where after reading the book, I just can't think, unless it's like a 10-hour movie. I just can't get the fear out of my head, basically. All right, Teo, go ahead.
No, again, not much to say. Again, it's nice, new introduction to a new character. We'll see how that pans out for the future, but that's pretty much it. Also, I honestly could understand decently enough the lyrics of the song. Sure, I will not learn, word by word, but I could understood for the most part. Next.
Sure.
That was cute. And it's nice to see Anne get some friends, especially with the crap day she had with the church. So
don't worry, Shiroi. When school starts, because remember we're in summertime still. When school starts, she'll be able to make even more friends anyway.
All right.
Same as Shiroi, by the way.
Okay, Jovah, close us out.
It was a good one, and though seriously, can the people who sung that song maybe sing it a little clearer? Goddamn.
Bella Fraser.
It's weird because I feel like she sings other songs somewhat more clearly, but this one felt.
I'm guessing something got screwed over in the recording process. I don't know what to tell you.
For as much as I may rant, the song is still cute. The moment's still cute. This episode overall is good and cute.
All right, everybody. Tune in next time for episode 10, which is called. Episode 10 of the. We have differences now. Episode 10 is called "Anne Plans with a Best Friend," whereas the chapter of the book is called "The Delights of Anticipation." Basically,
interesting.
But all right, see ya.
See ya.
See ya.